Welcome to Bara Version, a channel that shares knowledge for holistic self-development through great books. Today, I'd like to share with you a book titled I Love You, But I'm Not in Love with You, by Andrew G. Marshall. He is a renowned British marriage counselor who has authored 19 different books translated into 20 languages and contributed articles to esteemed newspapers like The Times, The Observer, and The Sunday Express. In love, we always dream of a lifelong, loving relationship, don't we? However, reality shows that many people, the longer they stay together, the more easily they fall into a state of loving but not feeling, in love, saying things like, "I still love that person, but I don't feel it deeply anymore. The feelings are just fading." Loving is easy, staying together is hard. Does love always succumb to mundane, everyday things? In the past, people divorced because they hated each other. Now, they break up simply because they no longer feel enough love. Here are some statistics gathered in the book. When asked for their reasons for divorce, 24% of participants cited financial issues. 21% said it was due to infidelity. 15% attributed it to their uncontrolled arguments. Another 15% pointed to differences in parenting views. However, these were common reasons in the past, and these percentages are now decreasing. Instead, recent data shows that 47% stated they divorced due to a loss of romantic passion, and 43% reported breaking up because, although they still loved their partner, they no longer felt deeply in love with them, or that spark was gone. So why do we feel this way? If being with someone truly leaves you deeply hurt and suffering, both physically and mentally, or if loving someone makes you lose yourself, causing you to regress and lose the joy of life, then perhaps we need to reevaluate and learn to let go of such relationships. But what if, in a relationship, you simply feel that the person no longer loves you, or even if you still love them, you sense the feelings are slowly fading? If you choose to end it then, will you regret it later? And if you move on to a new relationship, can you be sure you won't repeat the same old problems? The problem will always lie within ourselves, and love always requires wisdom. I am confident that this book will be beneficial for many families, even if you're not yet married. The knowledge and practical exercises within it will help you maintain and grow your own love. It must be said, this is a book everyone should read before falling in love, and especially before marrying their soulmate. Now, through today's video, I invite you to explore the core content of this book. This is also where I'll summarize 7 steps to reignite love. Understand the true nature of love through 3 types of love and 6 stages of love, and avoid calling all feelings with a single, generic word, love. First, I believe the author's greatest contribution is his very comprehensive perspective that helps us understand the true nature of love. You see, we often say, "I love you," or "I love you so much," but in reality, that phrase contains a lot of ambiguity. Imagine a woman who thinks her partner no longer loves her because now he only spends time with her when they eat or watch movies. But the partner thinks, "No, I clearly still love her very much. When she's sick, I drop everything to be by her side." Each person believes the other no longer loves them, while one side insists they still do. Why does this disagreement happen? The reason is that we use the word love too broadly. We often use one word, love, to represent all emotions. In reality, the emotional journey 2 people experience in life comprises many different stages, but we generically call them all love. The author advises us to learn to use more precise language, because when you can name what your love for that person truly is, that's also when you can understand its essence. From there, you can avoid many conflicts or disagreements that could lead to a painful end. The author believes there are at least 3 different types of love between 2 people. The first type of love is called infatuation. When a relationship begins, this period of infatuation can last about 18 months to 3 years. The characteristic of this phase is intense passion. You only want to be with that person, and simply not seeing them makes you feel very uncomfortable. Both cling to each other like shadows, spending a lot of time together. Therefore, in the example above, when the woman said, "He no longer loves me," what she actually meant was, "He is no longer infatuated with me as he once was." And when her partner told her, "I still love you very much," When you're sick, I drop all my work to be by your side. His love had actually moved to a different stage, the attachment *** phase. The second type of love is **attachment **. Attachment is a state of caring and being cared for when in love. It seems like a much more advanced state compared to the initial infatuation, because infatuation has a strong feeling but lacks a deep foundation. For example, on a Sunday morning, you see your partner preparing breakfast for you while you're still lingering in bed. At this moment, a feeling of fondness, contentment, and satisfaction surges within you. That's the feeling attachment brings. It's more mature and less fervent than the infatuation stage, but it can last much longer. Finally, the two will move to another type of love, caring love ***. Caring love here is unconditional love, meaning both become like family, perhaps the closest family members of all. At this point, there are no other conditions between the two. You live more like soulmates, both sharing common economic and emotional interests, both loving and caring for their children and providing for their parents. These are the three distinct types of love, and all of them are love. To truly understand the nature of love, you need to clearly know which emotional stage you and your partner are currently experiencing. Next, we also need to understand the 6 stages of a loving, committed relationship. You need to know that everything requires stages of development. Just as when you start a business, you must grasp the product life cycle. Love and marriage are similar. We must understand their life cycle. Here, the author outlines 6 stages in a loving and marital relationship. The first stage is within the first 18 months. This is called the two become one period, where you two are in a passionate relationship that no one can break apart. It's also the stage where both are willing to accept all of each other's differences. The second stage is from year 2 to year 3. This is the nesting *** period. Two people might work towards a common goal or build a shared identity, but it's also when they begin to be more calculating and ignore each other's differences. Then, moving into years 3 and 4, both begin to experience the self-assertion period. This is a time when each person seeks to rediscover themselves within the relationship. Who am I? Am I slowly losing myself? At this stage, differences between the two start to lead to conflicts. After moving past the self-assertion stage, from year 5 to year 14, both advance to the cooperation * period. This means both begin to trust each other, ready to complement and support one another. The next stage is from year 15 to year 25. We enter the adaptation period. This is considered a very dangerous stage because life's pressures grow. When children in the household begin preparing for college and then leave home, the burden of maintaining and developing life can easily lead to divorce. Finally, after passing through the adaptation period, from year 25 to year 50, both will fall in love all over again. They will enter the Reigniting Love * period. At this stage, the couple begins to become even more deeply attached and loving towards each other. We often see the image of an elderly man holding hands with an elderly woman, walking together on the street. This image always makes people marvel and admire their enduring love, right? But in reality, this situation is very common, because once you've passed through the adaptation period, both sides become stable and they start to love again like in the beginning. This is the 6-stage life cycle of love and marriage. You need to understand its nature to gain an overall perspective, so you can know what you'll face before deciding to be with someone or within a relationship. To understand the essence of love, know where you are and what you need to do. From there, you can build a happier, healthier relationship. # learning how to argue to solve problems. Next, we'll explore the biggest challenge in love: arguments. Arguments are what erode affection the most. There's a very different perspective in this book compared to others I've read. The author suggests that you can * argue in front of your children. We usually say you shouldn't argue in front of kids at home, but the author here argues that if you never argue in front of your children, how will they learn to handle disagreements with their future partners or spouses when they grow up? How will children learn to deal with different problems? The author suggests you shouldn't avoid arguing in front of your children, but rather avoid losing control in front of them. If you lose emotional control, shouting and throwing things, that is truly the wrong thing to do in front of your children. You can disagree, but you must use appropriate methods to solve the problem. Only then will children see that two people can have different opinions, and when disagreements arise, there are still ways to resolve them. Therefore, we shouldn't try to avoid arguing, but rather learn how to argue effectively to solve problems. In this book, the author provides 3 principles for effective arguing. The first principle is equality. You need to know that all responsibilities in a loving and marital relationship are equal. Truly, when arguing, if you believe all the fault lies with the other person, this is just a futile thought and represents you avoiding responsibility. Even in cases of infidelity, the betrayed person might think, "Clearly, I was deceived." But in reality, infidelity is often not the cause of a marriage breaking down. Rather, it's an result of a broken marriage. Therefore, maintaining a principle of equality in the relationship, where both have nearly equivalent responsibility, will help you realize that when any problem occurs, you yourself had some problem and responsibility, rather than just blaming others. The second principle is that two people have similar emotions and equivalent flaws. When two people frequently have conflicts and arguments, you might get extremely angry and think you two truly can't get along, that you're too different. However, in reality, it's not like that. You must remember that the basis for you two being attracted to each other is similarity. That person is a mirror reflecting your own emotions. Whenever you get angry or dissatisfied with something about them, it means that very characteristic also exists within you. The third principle is the *80/20 rule *. This is an extremely important principle and also a core idea emphasized in another very famous book about intimate relationships. What does the 80/20 rule mean? The 80 here refers to the differences between you and that person, where up to 80% of the reasons originate from the past, and at most only 20% are due to the present. That is, 80% of what we express in terms of emotions and anger stems from our childhood or what we experienced when we were young. And this particular argument only has 20% related to what is happening now. Let's take an example. A couple argues because the husband complains that his wife doesn't clean up her hair in the bathroom after washing it. The reason they're arguing isn't actually about unsanitary living habits. In reality, it's because the husband, since childhood, had no voice in his home. When he was little, he spoke, but no one listened or valued his words. So, as an adult, he places a high value on saying what you mean and doing what you say. When his wife promised to clean up her hair after showering but didn't, he felt his wife wasn't respecting him. "Didn't you tell me you would, but you didn't? You're ignoring my words, you're disrespecting me," and so on. The wife, on the other hand, feels angry because, since childhood, she had a very strict father who always scolded her for not putting things back in their proper place after using them. These scoldings deeply hurt her as a child. That's why, as an adult, she feels that if her husband truly loved her, he shouldn't yell at her, even if she's a bit messy. So, the anger both feel largely stems from childhood memories that influenced them. The unsanitary bathroom causing the argument accounts for very little. In fact, if they look at the issue as originating from a childhood wound, if the past can be let go, the husband could completely overlook it without anger and instead find a better solution than annoyance or blame. As for the wife, once she understands why her husband is angry, she will no longer feel that he doesn't love her. After learning these 3 principles, you will be able to know what you two are truly arguing about. You'll know what to say and what to explain clearly during an argument so you can untangle the knot. If you can't do this, you'll just float on the surface of the problem with thoughts like, "He doesn't love me anymore," or "She doesn't value me like she used to." Next, here are 3 steps to help you resolve conflicts. In reality, when facing conflicts or anger, some people adopt avoidance tactics, including shunning their partner. Afterwards, you might rationalize it by thinking, "There's no other way, she is just like that," or "Everyone has their own personality." However, once you accept that pain as inevitable, you'll no longer want to make an effort to change it, or some people pretend as if nothing happened. Those who resolve problems this way often have a belief deep down that a mature person, a good husband or wife, shouldn't hold grudges, get angry, or lose their temper. The problem here, however, is that if you label yourself this way, you'll never accurately express what's truly in your heart, and consequently, the unresolved issues and conflicts between you two will only escalate and become impossible to solve. So, what's the best way to resolve conflicts? We have 3 steps to resolve conflicts. Step 1. Explore the emotional story of your partner and yourself. Understand 80% of the conflict's root cause through the 80-20 rule. After that, ensure both sides have completely expressed all their feelings and grievances. Step 2. Empathize. You need to listen and understand what your partner is saying. You need to reflect on your own responsibility in the situation, and at the same time, put yourselves in each other's shoes to empathize and find opportunities to de-escalate the conflict. Conflicts are like scratches. If you don't find a way to heal them, they will gradually accumulate and one day become permanent, callous scars in both your hearts, never to be salvaged. Step 3. Act. You need to find a compromise solution that both sides feel satisfied and content with. Then, implement it together. And importantly, after each conflict, you need to learn from the experience. Don't let the same problem repeat multiple times. After we learn how to argue effectively, you'll need to share a common goal. Sharing a common goal is truly very important. When loving and being loved, you often only remember the feeling that you need that person, and that person needs you. You're together out of habit. Gradually, you'll forget that to maintain and develop love, 2 people also need to strive for a common goal, to love so that love can continue to flourish. Here's an important piece of knowledge. You need to know that everyone has a different way of expressing love. Let's take an example. When the husband comes home from work, he buys his wife a cake. This is how he expresses his love for his wife. But the wife is unhappy with her weight, so for her, the way to show love is to encourage her or go to the gym with her, not to buy such food. You see, this is the difference in expressing love. According to research from the book The 5 Love Languages there are at least 5 love languages. The first language is quality time together. If someone says, "It's been a long time since we spent time together," please listen, this person's way of expressing affection is wanting to create dedicated time together. The second language is acts of service. For example, if you're sick, I'll be by your side, take care of you, cook porridge, buy medicine, or take you to the hospital. People like this express love through acts of care. The third language is physical touch. For example, they often want to hug you, kiss you, or hold your hand. The fourth love language is words of affirmation. These individuals seriously express their gratitude. This is also a way to show love, yet some people, when faced with their thanks, feel it's insincere. But this is truly a shame. Only because you don't understand each other's love language do you have such thoughts. And the final love language is receiving gifts. These 5 languages are all different ways to express love. However, the section in this book is quite brief. I find that simply expressing love isn't enough. In essence, conflicts and arguments with our partners arise because we don't effectively express what we truly desire. Usually, we tend to express our angry feelings and dissatisfactions. I sincerely recommend you read the book Nonviolent Communication. This book also provides us with a simple formula derived from nonviolent communication itself. This formula I will put on the screen. On a daily basis, if you pay attention, we often unintentionally use violent language with each other. When you do that, it really frustrates me. Or, you make me so sad. These statements sound very simple and normal, but in reality, they are a form of psychological torture. They place all responsibility on the other person and make them feel criticized. Conversely, if you apply the formula above, using sentences from nonviolent communication, you would narrate the event by saying, "When you did this or that, I felt very sad." And then provide a reason, such as, "Because as a child, I had to endure similar situations," or any other reason. This way of speaking is more effective in communication. Violent communication blames the other person, while nonviolent communication seeks to understand one's own inner needs. When we can express our deepest inner needs, our angry emotions will decrease, and from there, you will avoid arguments. Regarding this step 3, you need to maintain a common goal, expressing love. You need to know what your partner's love language is, and at the same time, clearly understand what your desired love language is. Then, start learning to speak in others' love languages and learn to speak according to what your partner values. It's especially important in daily life to learn nonviolent communication with each other. Expressing love and communicating effectively are truly a long-lasting glue in a relationship, but that alone isn't enough. Two people can still face the gradual fading of feelings when they become too familiar with each other. That's why you need to move on to step 4, the game in the intimacy garden. This is how you create intimacy between two people. There's a very interesting statistic here. In a good relationship, sexual intimacy only accounts for 30%. Don't think that an intimate relationship is one based solely on sex. That will create a lot of pressure on both sides. In reality, physical contact, gentle language, or an affectionate attitude can help us create a better sense of intimacy. So, in the process of learning to create intimacy, don't be afraid of getting hurt. If you go to hug her, say kind words to her, and your partner doesn't respond to your actions, that's okay. Don't be afraid of being hurt. It's only at this point that you can gradually build a more intimate relationship. After understanding the nature of love, learning how to argue effectively, expressing love, and becoming more intimate, you will have to face the biggest obstacle between two people. Asterisk differences asterisk asterisk. Because this book's video is quite long and I'm limited by time when making a hand-drawn video, I will divide this book into 2 parts. In the next video, I will share with you the crucial subsequent steps in your journey to rekindle your love with your partner. These will include common mistakes couples make when facing their differences and the best way to resolve those differences. Furthermore, how to limit explosive trigger points between two people. And finally, habits to nurture intimacy between two lovers. Well, today's video ends here. Join Bara version to watch part 2 of this book tomorrow. Finally, thank you all, and I'll see you in the next video.